Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast and show. This is Assent, Dissent. I'm Shaun Strong with,
Brandon Des.
and we're happy to have you all here. Listen, at the time of this recording, we are exactly 1 day away from Election Day. So we really do hope that you all have either already got out the vote or you are going to cast your ballot tomorrow on Election Day. Remember, your vote is your voice, and it definitely matters. I have early voted. Brandon, can you tell the people?
I have definitely early voted, honey, and I made a showing of it.
Exactly. So we have done our part civically. We're encouraging everybody listening to the show or following the show. Please do your part because that's what we talk about here: politics, current events, and pop culture. And we do advocate for everybody being civically engaged and being responsible with what our ancestors fought for us to have the ability to do. With that said, before we get started with Brandon's first topic, earlier this weekend, we had a devastating loss in the music community and specifically the gospel music community with that of Bishop Vance Allen. Everybody knows that iconic voice. Those runs are crisp, they're magical, and nobody can imitate them. So we're just going to take a brief moment to reflect on him with a moment of silence. We do know as we record in Toledo, he is a local legend here in Toledo as well. So we just want to offer our condolences and our sympathies to his family, his church family, and the music community as a whole. So we're going to pause with a moment of silence for him. All right, Brandon, what have you got for us today?
Shaun, my topic today is going to be on a very interesting op-ed that I came across in the Washington Post
Oh
by this
my.
author named Richard Hania, whatever. Um, and it was written on October 29th, 2020. And I just want to give everybody the thesis of the op-ed. Quote, historically, the academic literature on the causes of civil war was divided into two categories. Some scholars viewed such conflicts as predictable outcome when there were deep grievances within national populations, while others stressed the importance of citizens having an opportunity to act on those resentments. Much of the discussion about violence in the United States today centers implicitly on the grievance model, holding that if we know how much different tribes of Americans hate each other, we can predict the likelihood of fighting in the streets. But scholars now prefer what is called the opportunity model, thanks to large scale studies that examine political violence worldwide with cutting edge statistical methods. Grievances and societal cleavages exist everywhere, waiting to be exploited. What distinguishes the countries that descend into civil war from those that do not is the lack of state capacity to put down rebellion for reasons rooted in politics, economics, or geography. So basically, they're saying that the title of this op-ed, let me say this, is called "Americans Hate Each Other, but We Aren't Headed for Civil War." And what he's saying here is that the grievance model states that civil wars occur due to one group having grievances and they're not being addressed. And then there's also this opportunity model that says that civil wars arise out of the opportunity of lack of resources on behalf of the government, so the people take over.
So
Shaun,
basically, what you're saying is that a civil war can only happen for those one or two reasons. So basically, like the American Civil War or the French Revolutionary War, where they overthrew the government because they didn't have anything. That would be the opportunity.
exactly. That would be the grievance model.
Oh,
the
that's the
an
grievance.
opportun an opportunity model, I guess you could relate to what's going on in Syria, so to speak, in their civil war, where the government necessarily doesn't have the resources it needs to put down that rebellion. So
Mm-hmm.
the rebellion has the opportunity to
Ah,
ease
okay,
it.
makes sense.
Um, so, what model do you agree with America's current civil uh, unrest, as what they like to say in the media? Do you agree that our unrest is due to grievance or opportunity?
It's definitely grievance, not opportunity, because if we're looking if we're using Syria as the basis for the opportunity model, our government definitely has the ability to put down and squash any rebellions. And that's from local governments all the way up to state and federal. So it can't be the opportunity model unless we're saying there's an opportunity for somebody to make money off of a civil war, which there possibly could be. So then there will be some of that interspersed in there. But it's definitely going to be the grievance model because there is a lot of civil unrest and a lot of civil tensions between two different, societies and basically two different races and class systems. I feel like for me, I was actually talking about this today too, because, and this loosely ties into it, but we have so many people that are willfully, not skillfully, but just willfully ignoring the issues of social injustices that are going on right now in America and trying to push one issue over another. And specifically, a lot of people are trying to push the abortion issue as the main reason to vote red or to vote, for one particular political party as their solution. And so, actually, for the first time, because as you know, I am religious, and there are a number of people I follow religiously, and there was one particular Catholic bishop that wrote an editorial called "Life Hangs in the Balance." And so he was saying, prior to the upcoming election, please read this statement. And then he was talking about there is wrong, more wrong, and most wrong. So kind of like a sliding scale of issues on where to put them, which for the most part, I do somewhat agree with that scale. I mean, there's stealing and looting, and then there's stealing, looting, and killing. There's wrong, more wrong, and most wrong. None of them are correct, but there's a weight limit sometimes to the actions that we take. But basically, he was using that as the foundation to say that protecting the unborn is, the weightiest of all causes. And like that's the number one issue that we need to focus on most. So I wrote back a response that was in part a little bit edited, but mainly it was a response that my friend Kellen Brooks shared with me. And basically, I said, there are many Christians who harp on abortion and showing and show voting red as a solution. The issue that many of us in the fight for justice and equality have is the same individuals who try to spiritualize voting this way ignore the myriad of social issues that impact the prevalence of abortions in the first place. Anyone who shows brazen support of a leader who has repeatedly demonstrated moral bankruptcy as the Christian thing to do has chosen to ignore the cries of injustice and the stains of racism. This moral bankruptcy and ineptitude to lead with compassion, generosity, and common decency is more than a personality flaw, because that's another thing that I've been hearing a lot of Christian leaders trying to say is that we don't vote on the personality of a candidate, we vote on their issues. Well, what the current president and his cronies are showing us are not personality traits or personality flaws. They're issues in character. They're issues and their own spirituality that they try to thump, which does not exist. It's completely non-existent. So unfortunately, I go on to say, unfortunately, such is the time that support, open and implied, reveals something deeper of one's own character and encouragement of white supremacy. Now, I'm not saying to any Christian listening to this that if you vote for Trump, you're not a Christian or you're not saved, because salvation is a thing between you and the Lord. I can't take that away from you. That's a work that I don't do. It's a work God does. What I am saying, though, is that if you can still vote for someone who is inherently and obviously evil and has no remorse whatsoever in his evil and foul actions, I'm not saying that you're not saved. I'm just saying I'm putting a big red question mark to the salvation you claim you have. that's where we find ourselves currently in America. The social unrest, the civil unrest, the cries of injustice are greater than the one cry of, we have to protect the unborn. There's too many other things going on. And specifically, I want to say to any Christian living or watching, especially a Catholic, the Catholic Church theme is protecting the dignity of life from the womb to the grave. I very much believe in that message. I very much support that message. But my problem is when we focus so much on the unborn that we don't protect the dignity of those that are already living. I think that's a little bit of an imbalance.
Well, you certainly gave a mouthful with that. And I'm certainly not even going to throw all the shade that is very much so deserved on behalf of the Christian group.
Oh boy.
For all those that are listening, no, I am not the most religious person, but I am a spiritual person. And that's what enables me to live my life unweighted, weight free by all those man made religious rules. But neither here nor there. Let me get to my
It's
point.
okay. I bring that type of balance to the force.
Yes, you do bring the dark side of the force to balance my light side.
Oh boy.
I would like to say, just taking your whole argument, which I think you did a very good job of, is I even just want to break it down, water it down to an even more fundamental level. What is this whole thing with trying to make everything so this choice or that choice? There's more than two choices up for every freaking
Exactly.
election that exists. The people that are choosing economy over everything else or abortion over everything else has a developmental issue with being able to prioritize or being able to weigh all the different options that are at the table instead of laser focusing on one or the other. Those
See,
type of people. Mhm.
go ahead.
No, those are the type of people that you see end up in those 80-20 relationships where their marriage is failing because they want to go after this 20% that they ain't getting from the 80% because they're so laser focused on that 20% when they don't even see what else is on the table. So that's just a general analogy, but that's what that boils down to, you know? And
So yes, I totally agree with you in part about the people that are laser focused on one issue. Here's my thing, and here's what I was telling another person that I was speaking with, who told me that basically the reason he votes Republican is because they're closely aligned with his moral principles and his Christian principles, and that's why he votes Republican. For anyone that says that, it's your vote, it's your voice. I can't tell you how to vote. I respect the fact that you are voting, and I have to respect the reasons for you voting. So if that's what you say, then that's what I have to go with. And for you and I, because we have not voted in that many presidential elections, like this is only my fourth, we don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of what all the issues were. So, around the time of the New Deal and the Great Depression, I'm pretty sure the economy was a main focus for many voters, and they were going to vote for the candidate that was going to fix the economy because people wanted to get back to work. So I think that when it comes to being laser focused on one issue, there are probably times and places where that is important and where that does make a difference. But as I said to that particular person with the Republican Party, that has showed us that they are completely bankrupt of any moral virtues or Christian values. If you're carrying that into this election, I'm going to pull what I call the Brandon Davis card and call BS. Um, that doesn't hold in this election. When you see the person occupying the White House and you see how inherently evil that person is, you're not going to tell me you're voting for them because they follow your moral compass when they've been bankrupt of all morality and common decency. Abortion, that is an issue. The economy, that is an issue. And if that's your issue that you're focused on, that's what you rank the highest and that's what matter the most to you, I don't take that from you. You can most certainly have that. But if you're using that as an issue in this election, to vote for Donald Trump. I again am calling on the Brandon Davis card and saying that's BS. I believe that using those excuses in this particular election is cowardice. You're voting for what's currently there because it makes you comfortable, because you are okay with white supremacy, because you are okay with racism, because you are okay with misogyny, because you are okay with xenophobia, because you are okay with Donald Trump and all of his evils do not bother you. And you need to just come out and say it. Using terms like the silent majority, that is a racist term. That is a term rooted in white suppression. You're saying that I am a part of a majority that is going to continue to vote to keep things the same because I don't want them to change because the system benefits me and I don't care who else it doesn't benefit. So, again, laser focused issues, totally understand them. You have your right to carry those into the polling places with you. If things change in the future, which I hope they do with the political climate, where we can get back to a sense of normalcy, where it's just, good old fashioned Republican versus Democrat, and we're fighting it out, duking it out on the issues and things like that. Okay, cool. Take your one hot button issue to the poll. Take your moral compass and your Christian values to the polls. Totally fine with it. But for this election, it's BS.
Well, I would just like to only touch on one thing that you said there, and that's on you saying abortion is an issue. Abortion is not an issue. Abortion is an issue for nosy Christian people. Okay. And I will say this, I don't like to tell women what they should do, but I will say this, that women should worry about their own uteruses instead about the next woman's uterus. And I will say that men need to not focus on uteruses or whatever the plural form of it is.
Uteri.
Whatever. Look,
Maybe,
I'm a PA and don't even know that. Anyways, they don't have them, so it should not be their concern unless it's their wife they want to talk about. Worry about her uterus. Don't worry about the next woman's. Anyways, so the next question is what do you predict will happen tomorrow? And when the final results happen and are announced, because the whole point of this great article was to talk about the violence and the civil unrest, as they like to call it, that is currently going on. I personally say that there is going to be anarchy in the streets, and there is going to be more of driving Joe Biden's bus off the road and ramming cars and blocking highways in the name of white privilege. Shaun?
So there is an account that I follow on social media called Embracing Black Culture. It is absolutely hilarious. Every meme that they make resonates to the core of me in ways that I never imagined. So if you all and Brandon, and I'm sorry those that are listening by podcast and not watching the show, if you all would like to know what I am going to be like on tomorrow after the polls close and I am done helping pass out literature for that second half while I'm not at work, please pay attention to the memes that we are about to share from Embracing Black Culture, and know that every last one of these are my mood from midnight until midnight.
You're a hot mess. I'm just going to point that out.
Telling you.
And for my last question, how does a society come back from such a polarized point where people have made it known where they stand, no matter how morally destitute, morally bankrupt, morally empty, morally void, for those that don't understand, no matter how void their stance is?
So I can't say that there is a point of no return. I saw a post that another friend of mine shared on social media, and it was his comments regarding the 2016 election. And he said, he thought that America was finally bending toward the long arc of justice. And basically, we were finally coming to a place, not that racism had ended, but we had reached enough people that had emerged in society to have different views and to say we're going to begin to change this narrative and change the landscape of our country. The election of Donald Trump, um, I think, set us back. And, I actually want to speak about that just a little bit because, in my opinion, Donald Trump was and was not duly elected. And I think there are a lot of people that can make that case. The Electoral College voted for him, absolutely, and that's what we stand with. But he lost that election by over 3 million votes. So I would actually almost amend that statement by saying we are getting there. The reason I think we are where we are and why America looks, oh man, I just had a real aha moment. The reason why I think America looks the way it looks is because of a saying my grandmother used to always share with me. And she would say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease or gets the oil. Basically, there may not be an overwhelming amount of white nationalists or white supremacists in America, but they have a leader in office right now that speaks to them and suppresses everything else. So at this present moment, they're going to be the loudest. And I think most of us have enough good sense to know that the loudest people in the room aren't always the ones in major numbers. Because they're so loud, it may seem that way, and it may be distracting, or it may even fool you to believing that they are a majority. But I don't believe that they are. And I would like to see more specifically how the popular vote lands on tomorrow night to probably back up that claim, because I believe, even God forbid, Donald Trump wins the Electoral College again, if he still loses the popular vote by millions like he did in 2016, I'm more inclined to believe that we are making progress as a society. And literally, it's only time that changes things. You just literally have to wait till those ignorant people stop breeding and die.
Well, I think that you're being overly optimistic on if um, if Donald Trump loses by millions and millions of votes popularly, but wins the Electoral College. We're getting there. Well, we're gonna take a few hell of a lot steps back, okay? Because I'm personally gonna be right with everybody else, burning it all down because
Well,
we
I'm
ain't
not saying
standing
that there
for it.
won't be anarchy. I'm not going to say that there won't be anarchy and mass civil unrest. I absolutely believe there will be, but I'm talking about bending toward that arc of justice. I'm talking, you know, fundamentally, like
Yeah, okay.
society overcoming. I'm saying we're probably getting closer to that end if more people are turning away from this evil bastard.
Well, Shaun, I'm gonna go ahead and let you start your section for today.
Okay. So, on the line of current events, sorry guys, we do talk about current events and pop culture. I promise you we do. And so many times we actually want to talk about it with you. But, this political climate and landscape that we're in right now in America sometimes just supersedes. But in the line of current events, I caught something the other day. Now, you all have to forgive me because I'm not the most hip. Um, but there is a group, I think it is, called City Girls. It's not a song by Meg Stallion, it's their own separate group. So it's not what
Meg
I
the Stallion. Put some respect on her name.
Meg the Stallion. Look, I don't be knowing these children names. All right. But much power to you. I saw a picture of her and she's beautiful. Yay, go
Yes.
Meg.
Mm-hmm.
So City Girls, they got some records out, and Sasha the Obama made a TikTok video to one of the City Girls songs that went viral. And I think it was like the Daily US Mail that wrote an article about it. You know, Sasha Obama is, you know, making a viral TikTok video where she's lip syncing a song that has profanity and is using the N word. Um, and there was some outrage about it.
Oh God.
And so here's some of the outrage that I heard. According to the US Daily Report, one critiquer commented, I'm so disappointed. If Obama, speaking of Barack, President Barack, can't stop his daughter from being influenced by the City Girls, then it really ain't no hope for the future of Black women. Someone else said, I can't believe she thinks rapping to those lyrics is acceptable. The future of Black women is doomed. Wendy Williams then picks this story up and also says, oh my God, who do you think you are? You're Sasha Obama. You know that you can't do that. Could you wait 7 days? Speaking of when the election was over. And you know, she's just going on and on like, are you kidding me? What were you thinking doing this? For me personally, now granted, I don't listen to that type of music. As you know, my grandmother and her generation called it the hippity hop, and I sometimes refer to it that way, being funny. Um, all that hip hop bebop stuff. You know, I grew up in a real Christian home. Um, but my sister does. And even though sometimes I try to monitor to make sure she's listening to clean versions, my whole point is Sasha Obama is 19 years old. She is a young Black girl embracing her music culture, making TikTok videos, which is what young people her age are doing right now on social media. Let her live. I don't
Well, I'm
see any.
sorry. I'm infuriated. Okay, for a plethora of reasons. Okay, let me give you
Please share.
some of the key
I
points
saw you.
that.
I saw you writing.
Oh, because I'm steamed. The whole comment about disappointed that Barack Obama can't stop her from rapping City Girls. First of all, leave her damn daddy out of this. He is a whole grown man, and that is a whole grown girl. Okay, that's just point one. No,
I
well,
didn't know
point
we
and
were
two. Because
unleashing the
oh no, because
Brandon, but
no. Now I'm heated. Second, she's an
also
adult.
she's in
That was the
college.
second point. She's in
She's probably,
college.
yeah. She's
And my
probably not
third
even
point
living in his
was,
home.
and even if she was, um, my third point that I wanted to make before I got into the deeper stuff is Wendy Williams is a crackhead. Like, so who cares? Like, she's a
Oh,
full on crackhead. She should go get off them bumps and 8 balls before she started trying to give anybody any opinion on any damn thing. Secondly, or adding on to that, Wendy is sort of right. She can't, and I'm going to use quotes, she can't do those things. And this is where I'm conflicted because, yes, she is the first daughter of the first Black president. She is going to be held on a level that is so high that, you know, she cannot do these certain things. Quotes again on cannot. However, I'm conflicted with that because she didn't choose that life. When her father got elected both times, she was a minor. She didn't choose to be put on that platform. We all put her there. She's living what she wants to live. She is being an independent young woman. Now, and I'm assuming a lot of these overnight political analysts have so much to say about her are apparently black. What y'all got to say about Lil Wayne? And wasn't y'all all in just so much a frenzy about Will and Jada and their entanglement and all that other bull? Like,
which we still have to talk about. I still want to
I'm
bring
not
that
even entertaining that. I ain't even entertaining that. Don't even get me started on that. But wasn't y'all just so mesmerized about that? But this is no future for black women because one girl. It's like what my friend said on my first part of For Colors Only, where she said we force black women to choose either the educational, professional, serious route or the party girl route. Why can't they be both? Why can't they be both?
Why can't they be
As
violent from dang, what's that new show with Issa Rae?
I don't know.
You do know it's on HBO. You watch it with
Oh, I don't watch that show. But it's that show that everybody watch. I know what you're talking about. I've heard of it. I just can't think of the name of it.
it's
And
a
that's
great
no shade to her, honey. I support her. No shade at all. I don't. But Insecure. Ain't that what it's called? Yeah.
Insecure, yes.
Insecure.
Yes. She can be Molly from Insecure.
Well, my thing is let that girl be that girl, okay? Y'all need to worry about y'all own Ray Rays and Trayvons and Boo Boos and all of them and Mans and why they selling dope and catching bodies and having kids that they ain't taking care of. Worry about
Wait,
that
hold
black
on.
future, okay?
Urban Dictionary, me real quick. What are catching bodies? What does that mean? Is that killing
Having
people?
sex with a bunch of
Oh,
random people. I didn't mean like shooting, killing people. Well, in
okay.
some cases they are, but that's not how I meant it for that one. But y'all need to worry about that black future. Worry about your own black future. Don't worry about this black girl's future because she's gonna make it to be whatever she wanted to be. This is another damn example of people not minding their business. And I'm sure some of them that were just so disappointed that she used the N-word were white people. White people use the N-word in private conversation every damn day of their life. And if they don't say it, they thinking it. And then some of them even have the audacity to say it. So miss me with all of that. Okay. If that girl want to get out and come out and at least she ain't twerking on video like she was at that college party years ago. I mean, so at least she wasn't doing that and making out with them white boys, which I find I am more disapproving of that than I am of her singing City Girls.
Brandon, what am I gonna do with you?
And that's my take on that.
Okay. So there's nothing wrong with interracial dating.
To each their own.
Oh, Father in heaven, help me. So my thing is Sasha Obama is 19. Let her live. She's doing what all 19-year-olds do. She's a kid. I mean, she's entitled to, roaring 20s just like everybody else is. Like, her now doesn't dictate what her future is going to be. And how is the future of all Black women resting on her shoulders? Like, who gave her that burden? That's
Right.
the most ignorant and idiotic thing that I've ever heard in my life. I mean, because nobody can aspire to be Sasha Obama because, truth be told, she's not anything right now but a college student. How do you aspire to
Well,
be
and to
the
equate
president's
her to
daughter?
be
That means
it,
your father has to run for president, and little Black girls, most of them aren't even in families of that caliber or nature. So, I mean, unless you are Cory Booker's daughter or Mike Espy's daughter or
I'm sorry, I
one
meant to
of the
smile.
other 2 or 3 Black male politicians that we have, like, you can't aspire to be Sasha Obama because she's not anything yet. She's still making her own way and carving her own path. So the future of Black women is doomed comment, I think, is probably the most stupid and idiotic thing that I've ever heard. That burden is not on her. That burden is more on her mother than it is her. Secondly, Sasha Obama can do whatever she wants to do because she's 19, regardless if she was the first daughter. She not is the first daughter. She was. She's no, I mean, even though her life is always going to be somewhat in the spotlight, for the rest of the time that she lives, she's not in the spotlight where she once was. And once again, Barack Hussein Obama has won 2 terms as president of the United States. He is not coming back ever again. He cannot run an office. He's not on the political landscape anymore, other to give speeches to motivate other people to come out and vote. So to try to hold his family to a certain degree that you once held them at when they were the first family, I think is ridiculous. To be coming out with stuff like this, like Wendy said, why couldn't you wait 7 days? What is Sasha Obama, lip syncing a City Girls song on a TikTok video have to do with the election? Like, if you're basing your choice off of that, you're an idiot.
Listen, first of all, to say that she is the doom of future for all Black women is like saying my little black is the doom of future for Black men because I'm gay. Like, what? I'm sure that there will be armies of Black straight men that would come against that statement. Number one. Number two, Wendy should really stop and think about it, because Sasha on there singing that song is probably going to identify more with white young people, because they've been appropriating and stealing our culture for decades. So they probably in their little room shaking whatever piece of flap they got to the same song. So if anything, I'm sorry, they probably on their video shaking it too, to the same song. And so they're going to identify with her like, yeah, get it. Like, get it. You know what I'm saying?
I just think it was probably the most ludicrous thing I've ever read or saw. And I'm thinking to myself, with everything else that's going on, are we having that really slow of a news day that this becomes national breaking news? Sasha Obama.
Well, and if this is outrage, where's all the outrage been for Donald Trump for the past almost 4 years?
Exactly. This selective outrage over the stupidest, pettiest things. Because here's the thing, even if we make it a white Black issue and we say white people are just outraged, like, oh my God, how could she do that? Nobody said anything to you while little Johnny was listening to all of that satanic, hell-raising, heavy metal music where they were talking about nothing but drugs and cocaine and that rocker lifestyle. Like, nobody was outraged with you. You thought it was okay because it was just a phase. Like, Insane Clown Posse and from Ozzy Osbourne biting the heads off of bats and your children trying to be like them, and them down there making bombs in your basement to blow up schools and things. Come on.
Speaking of which, Ozzy might be the real origin for COVID-19. Speaking of biting bats' heads off and stuff like that, for all the conspiracy theorists out there. Anyways, this whole thing just leads to the bigger discussion of Black divisiveness and us attacking our own. I'm not necessarily saying that we should uplift her for singing City Girls. I'm not saying we should attack her either. I'm saying we should mind our business, especially for something as trivial as this.
Again, I like to see her singing City Girls and twerking, not as much as I would want to see that on my own sister. No. But again, she is a child. Let her live. And that's literally my whole argument. Who cares? Let Sasha Obama do what Sasha Obama is going to do. Let her live. Leave her alone.
Period. And with that, that has been today's episode of Assent, Dissent. I am the now very irritated host, Brandon Diaz, and that is Shaun Strong. Welcome back, Shaun. We missed you last week. Be on the lookout for episodes every Wednesday on YouTube, Facebook. We are also on Instagram and Twitter at Assent_Dissent. And we will be having upcoming episodes of Four Colors Only. We will be continuing with parts 2 and 3 relatively quickly because I have a lot of interviews lined up. So we will see you all next week.
See you guys. Have a great night.